All right, it's Wednesday, April 3rd. This is a mid-morning update on the SPY and some of the other stocks. At the moment, the SPY, after having a very nice buy signal here, bar number 2 on the 15-minute chart, moved up very strongly. Now it's kind of pausing and consolidating a little bit, because of the strong move up in a situation that may or may not hold by the end of the day, given that you're just kind of moving up into this gap area and the weekly chart is still red, but you never know for sure. And also that the Fed chairman is speaking, so it shouldn't be surprising after kind of moving up and grinding up bar after bar here that you're going to get some kind of pause. And either way, it was a very good morning trade, and I discussed how I bought calls near the end of yesterday. So it definitely followed through higher. Now you're just getting an orderly pullback at the moment. It's nothing more than that. We'll see if this can hold in here orderly. Then you're expecting some kind of a green secondary push towards the highs of the day and maybe a lot higher. And we're going to watch on the daily chart as discussed to see what kind of bar closes here. Is it going to be a strong green bar by the end of the day that has expectations higher towards the end of the week, maybe to turn the weekly chart green, getting above this line? Or is this just a consolidation area on the monthly chart that kind of came down to its green line and held? But if it just kind of pauses in here and can't follow through to some upper targets, then we might be heading down on the month, since we're very early in the month. And if we can break down, on the days ahead, then maybe we're heading towards lower levels. So this day is kind of the beginning of a pretty important day to see how things end up. For now, it's moving up nicely. This is just, I want to see these bars just be orderly, and they're pausing, for an hour or so. You never know. And then let's see if a secondary push can take it higher. And might be relative to how the Fed, what the Fed Chairman Powell kind of discusses here a little bit, or what comments he makes. But overall, the trend is still up on the day, and we'll just have to see how this bar closes. What I wanted to show you, though, price, since I can't predict it, I'm just going to watch it. I just wanted to point out, and one other thing with price action in terms of how that always leads the way. You have your expectations, but you can't predict necessarily what's going to happen. As I'm watching all my given stocks today, I decided, as discussed earlier, to buy Apple and Merck. And you can see here Apple has continued higher. I bought at the lower blue line. I've scaled out at those blue lines, and now it's still holding up nicely, consolidating like the market. Whereas Merck, I bought it here, I scaled out to set up an overtrade, trade, and that one's come way down. And I just wanted to show you on the 1-minute chart, Merck had a big consolidation area in here after the move up, and I scaled out and then broke down. And that's why I actually decided on that one to exit at a small gain. I bought the stock at 131.75, exit at 132.25 to set up a no-risk trade. And then I immediately, when I saw the breakdown in that 1-minute chart, I exited the rest right around my entry price. So overall small gain on that. If I would have held on, I would have broken even at worst, because my break-even stop was down here. And if you didn't scale out at all, which, sometimes people ask, why do I scale out? Well, in that case, you might be holding a big losing trade right now. And since it's come down through the halfway point of the first bar, I don't expect anything to head higher, although anything's possible. What I was looking for when I exited this trade was to see if it held the midpoint of that bar and maybe made a secondary move to the upside. So again, using price action to judge if I would re-enter or not, and using price action to kind of decide that I wanted to exit that one up here, versus something like Apple, which kind of came up and paused a little bit. I could show you on the 1-minute chart, but then that one decided to follow through higher as expected to some of those upside targets. So, price action always leads the way. And I thought this is a good example, time to point out how risk management and price action guides everything. Even though I have expectations on all these stocks, I can see Nvidia, here would have been a good buy on bar number 3, and that came up. And now that looks like too much of a pullback for really a secondary move to the upside, but we'll find out. And again, this might go red, red, red all, bar after bar after bar. So, you can't predict it, but you kind of watch the pricing, and that judges, again, how you're going to maybe set up an opening trade and whether to get a secondary trade or not. And, in this case, with the SPY at the moment, like I said, I just see this as an orderly pause. I think this is an important little area here in the midday to see if we're going to get a secondary push and close this daily bar, strongly green or not. So we'll watch for that. I'll do a recap at the end of the day.